Good evening to the humans of Earth. We got our notification from our resident regular, Mr. Compton, saying, let's get the show on the road. So, I guess we need to get the show on the road, fam. How's everyone doing tonight? We're going to transition in just a second. There's like mad audio issues going on over here with my computer right now. You probably can't hear it, but I got like super bad static. So, let's go ahead. We'll get this show on the road. Give me just a second. Let me take one rip. Because you just can't do a proper stream without setting the mood. You know what I'm saying? Thank you to everybody for joining in tonight. This is Sovereign Starseed. My real name is Seth. My friends call me Silky. Ooh, that was a good one. And every night, we're restoring sovereignty to Earth. We're accelerating Earth's awakening process by streaming sovereign, unsponsored news every night, just to help you guys stay a little bit more aware, stay more educated. I firmly believe self-education closes the gap from allowing us to have external tyranny affect our lives. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Compton's already on the spaceship. Thank you so much. Ray of Sunshine's on the spaceship. Thank you so much. Hey, I'm super glad for you guys. Look at you guys. The post notification squad in the house, getting on the spaceship right when it's taken off. All right. So, yeah, every night we end up going into some of this news. Let's talk about the news tonight because it's all over the map. And then we'll get into our Maxim. And then any other little announcements or whatever, that we got going on, Yeah. All right. So, bringing the news. Perfect. So, the news comes up. It's already starting on some stuff here. So, Reuters.com put out this article yesterday that says Apple moves to store iCloud keys in China, raising human rights fears. When Apple Inc. begins hosting Chinese users' iCloud accounts in a new Chinese data center at the end of this month to comply with the new laws there, Chinese authorities will have far easier access to text messages, email, and other data stored in the cloud. That's because of a change to how the company handles the cryptographic keys needed to unlock an iCloud account. Until now, such keys have always been stored in the US, meaning that any government or law enforcement authority seeking access to a Chinese iCloud account needed to go through the US legal system. Now, according to Apple, for the first time, the company will store the keys for Chinese iCloud accounts in China itself. That means Chinese authorities will no longer have to use the US courts to seek information on iCloud users and can instead use their own legal system to ask Apple to hand over iCloud data for Chinese users. This is what the legal experts say. Human rights activists say they fear the authorities could use that power to track down dissidents, citing cases from more than a decade ago in which Yahoo Inc. handed over user data that led to arrests and prison sentences for two democracy advocates. Jing Zhao, a human rights advocate and Apple shareholder, said he could envisage worse human rights issues arising from Apple handing over iCloud data than occurred on the Yahoo case. In a statement, Apple said it had to comply with the recently introduced Chinese laws that require iCloud services offered to Chinese citizens be operated by the Chinese companies and that the data be stored in China. It said that while the company's values don't change in different parts of the world, it is subject to each country's laws. So while we advocated against iCloud being subject to these laws, we were ultimately unsuccessful, it said. Apple said it decided it was better to offer iCloud under the new system because discontinuing it would lead to bad user experience and actually lead to less data privacy and security for its Chinese customers. As a result, Apple has established a data center for Chinese users in a joint venture with state-owned firm Guozhou, cloud big data industry. And y'all know, I don't mean any disrespect if I mispronounce any of this stuff. The firm was set up and funded by the provincial government in the relatively poor southwestern Chinese province of Guizhou in 2014. The Guizhou company has close ties to the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party. The Apple decision highlights a difficult reality for many U.S. technology companies operating in China. If they don't accept demands to partner with Chinese companies and store data in China, then they risk losing access to the lucrative Chinese market, despite fears about trade secret theft and the rights of Chinese customers. So this is just something that, I just want you guys to see. And also it says, warned customers. Apple has given its Chinese users notifications about the February 28th switchover data to the Chinese data center in the form of emailed warnings and so-called push alerts, reminding users that they can choose to opt out of iCloud and store information solely on their device. The change only affects users who set China as their country on Apple devices, and it doesn't affect users who select Hong Kong, Macau, or Taiwan. The default settings on the iPhone will automatically create an iCloud backup when a phone is activated. Apple declined to comment on whether it would change its default settings to make iCloud an opt-in service rather than opt-out for Chinese users. Apple said it will not switch customers' accounts to the Chinese data center until they agree to the new terms of service, and that more than 99.9% of current users have already done so. Until now, Apple appears to have handed over very little data about Chinese users from mid-2013 to mid-2017. Apple said it did not give customer account content to Chinese authorities, despite having received 176 requests. According to transparency reports published by the company, by contrast, Apple has given the United States customer account content in response to 2,366 out of 8,475 government requests. So there's some fascinating, oh God, I did it again. I love that word. I love it. I love the word fascinating. And we are all together going to help me not use that word so much anymore because it's too much of a crutch, yo. I'm not doing it. So what's a better way of saying this? There's a lot of gold to be mined from this article. It's really what I'm trying to get at here. And that's the reason why I don't like using the word fascinating or any word that's too much of a crutch in my vocabulary, just because it forces us to broaden our vocabulary. But anyways, regardless, looking at this article, let's just take a look at this. First of all, I want you guys to see that from 2013 to 2017, the Chinese government requested less than 200 times data from Apple. They requested it less than 200 times. And in that same time, the US government had requested 8,475 times of its own citizens. So let's just do some math real fast. 8,475 divided by 176 equals 48.15. So the United States is requesting 48 times the amount of private data from Apple than the Chinese government is. I just want you guys to see that. And then also, that's fast. Oh yeah, I'm about to do it again. So you know what's very telling is that Apple is showing us with this data that for every one person that the Chinese government has tried to request data on, there have been 48 requests from the US government for people. Now, I just want you guys to see that so that we can end up trying to see what kind of surveillance is going on and what type of things our governments are requesting. Something else that I think that's really good is that Apple is putting in warnings, and it's putting in it in the form of emails and push notifications, which is something that they hardly ever do. When I was working at Apple, it was like this like forbidden, unspeakable, unmentionable, you can't even think about it or talk about it type action, and that was to try to use the push notification system for anything related from Apple, as in just like an ad or just an informational message. But this is really good to see that, you know, the reason why they didn't want to do that is because Apple didn't want the push notification system to be seen as kind of like its own advertisement and intrusive like aspect of the device. They had to build that in so it could specifically be different than the ads. That's why they started iAds and all that crap. But regardless of all that, you know, there are people that are now having to get push notifications, and Apple is breaking that that little area of like that atmosphere of transparency in their push notification system by injecting a push notification that said, hey, you know what, we have to let you know we're about to put some data in the Chinese data center. Even though you guys are in China, we just want you guys to know that you can't rely on the US legal system, and all of the privacy policies that we say exist in the US can exist for you now as well, when we have to let you know, and we feel it would be right to let you know that we're gonna have to host your data in China. So that's, I really like that, and I think that is pretty honorable for that company to do that. And then also, you know, this does end up raising some very big concerns for lots of things. So first of all, we're being able to see that Apple is now submitting to the will of the law and the legal system of any country that it operates in. And the reason why I feel it needs to do that is because of how established it already is, and that it's public, and that people can buy and hold shares in Apple. Here's the thing. If Apple was able to end up maybe like being completely crypto based, or if it was completely just in a new market that wasn't regulated, Apple would not have to follow the laws of all the countries that it operates in. And if it wanted to have its best interest out for itself, it might, you know, be able to do something like that to make sure that it can, you know, then provide the same user experience and privacy for everyone across the globe in its products, and not have to end up being stripped down. Because what's being said here is one thing, but you guys, what else is not being said here, I think is even more important. And it is an esoteric truth that every time something is being said, something else equally or more important is not being said. So when Apple's saying that it has to abide by the laws of the countries that it chooses to operate in, and it has this focused on the Chinese on China in this article, I want us to also think about and remember that at the same time, it's probably having to comply with a lot of the laws in the US. And depending on how you feel about the laws in the US, there might be some areas where it might be hard to trust, you know, what Apple's saying, or we might see areas of Apple's policies switch up and their terms and agreements may change drastically. Now, here's what I think is very, very cool, is that anybody using old Apple devices, like with using like iOS 9, iOS 8, I think anything before iOS 10 was pretty much the golden era. Anything during those times, everybody is agreeing to different terms and conditions, and everything is a double-edged sword. But I just want you guys to think about how much more surveillance is coming out, and how much more tracking is happening, and how we're having to agree to new terms and conditions every year. And if we dig deep enough, we might end up seeing where the Apple is complying with governments all across the world. And if governments are complying with other agencies like the NSA, you know, and the CIA, well, that's going to be very hard for us to know how far our data is really going nowadays. And it's just something that I want all of us to be aware of. And, you know, a lot of these listeners know that I'm a diehard Apple fan. But also at the same time, I'm not somebody that's a sheep. And I'm also not thinking that, like, at the same time that Apple's just like some amazing good grace or anything like that. But I will say that the Apple that Steve Jobs would run when he was alive did things that were a lot more in alignment with who I am as a being. And it was very beautiful to see somebody just be able to stand up in the face of everybody else and be like, no way are we doing that. We're doing it this way. And it's because it's what's right for the better good of all. And so that's really what has allowed us to end up having these products that have pushed us so far and have so much imitation come to that. But, you know, I just want you guys to see that so that way we can all see this and know that everything is propaganda, you know, and I am not somebody that's going to be blind to the fact that, yeah, you know, there could be some very, what can I say, damaging aspects to personal privacy should these companies continue to comply with these surveillance-ridden governments. Just my observation of the situation. It can change at any time. Next in the news, Cointelegraph.com puts out this article that says, new cryptocurrency debit card harnesses AI to give customers the best deal. The increasing ability to pay for products and services using cryptocurrency debit cards is a physical representation of the rise in crypto popularity. And Amon, a financial cryptocurrency platform, looks to solve the issue of how to make it cheap when purchasing with a crypto wallet. So it's going to be a unique payment card which utilizes artificial intelligence to ensure that users get the best value from their crypto wallets with every purchase. The white paper claims that they are the only platform which enables users to use their most valuable cryptocurrencies for purchases in real time. And so they offer their own Amon tokens. But what's going to happen is that basically what this is a wallet that you're going to have on your device, like on your iPhone, and you'll be able to have a debit card that links to it. What this debit card will have is it'll have a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies that'll be able to be linked to it. And using the power of AI, what will happen is as you're swiping your card at the register or tapping it down with Apple Pay, and that data after you swipe it gets sent over to their processor, their card processor, an AI with Amon, I don't know how to pronounce that, but Amon will basically look through your wallet, find out which cryptocurrency is the most valuable at that time, and convert your purchase to that cryptocurrency, which in turn makes it a very great deal for people, so that way they can go ahead and spend, you know, only their most valuable cryptocurrencies and get the most out of any cryptocurrency at a given time. Now, this could be a game changer for me even, guys, because if you were to, you know, picture this, if I was to end up having like a wallet and I just decided to participate in all these coins, like whatever, like just a bunch of coins, like I just went on and bought like 50 coins and just said, whatever, let's just see how 2018 plays out, right? And you just go on and you buy 50 coins and they all link to Amon. Well, whenever I'm making purchases, say in like Q3 2018, all of these cryptocurrencies are down because of government surveillance, for example. Well, there might be 2 or 3 cryptocurrencies I have that were built with surveillance in mind, that are like privacy coins, such as like PIVX and Monero and things like that. And at that time, those coins will probably be worth so much, they'll be shooting through the roof, because if surveillance is going to be huge, then so will privacy. So then privacy will end up becoming something that people will value a lot. I'm showing you guys like how I think, how I invest. Simple, right? Not hard. But like when you end up looking at this type of stuff, like you can see that privacy will become a very, very hot asset for people. That's when those coins like Monero and PIVX will shoot through the roof in value. At that time, whenever I swipe my card, it will automatically convert to Monero if it shot up further, or PIVX if it shot up even more. And if whatever I have the most value in, and whatever's most valuable at the time, then I will have that AI convert it to that coin, to BTC, to USD, and then get that right through there to the register at Sprouts, Whole Foods, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like that way you guys can see that, yeah, it's going to be something great for people to put their coins into, because, you know, you could just carry around the same card for years, and if one of your coins makes a comeback, for example, and like a dead coin all of a sudden gets some new development work, or somebody wants to pick it up and do something new with it, or I don't know, some website catches wind of it or something, and then it starts to spike overnight, well shoot, there might be a notification popping up on a whole bunch of people's phones like, boom, your wallet just became worth $1,000. There might be some people out there that are like, oh, thank the universe, oh my God, thank the universe. Now I can pay my rent. Now I can do whatever. Now I can pay my medical bills, because this one dead coin came back and Amon was tracking it, watching it, and sent me this alert. That could be a game changer. That's the way that I could see something like this playing out, guys. And so Amon might be something cool to get into. I might be checking that out a little bit. Next, in sovereign news, bignews.bitcoin.com puts out this article yesterday that says new Bitcoin embassy opens in the United States. What, son? A mooted Bitcoin embassy shall be the first of its kind since an early attempt in New York City for a Bitcoin gathering place. It was American Institute for Economic Research editorial director Jeffrey Tucker who had a revelation of sorts to establish a Bitcoin embassy in the United States. The idea is to bring cryptocurrency enthusiasts together, promising a welcoming environment staffed by people who can help with wallet recovery, other folks who are curious about a new technology, seminars, and even a place for dilly-dally and wine. Dilly-dally and wine. This could be the start of something big. So it's going to officially launch in April, and they are going to get 8 crypto ATMs in there, line up all the contractors and services. One of our services will be a wallet recovery business with a friend who works in Atlanta. The service is slammed with requests to recover lost Bitcoin. He uses a variety of techniques and a myriad of machines to brute force passwords and help people regain control of their money. That service now becomes a sector of the life of the Atlanta Bitcoin Embassy. So that's just one thing amongst many things. It says, revelation from the Holy Land. Inspiration for this embassy came from my visit to Tel Aviv, Israel. Mr. Tucker explains, I got to Tel Aviv and knew of 10,000 things I should see in Israel, but my honest reflection drew me inexorably to the Bitcoin embassy that I found from Googling. It is a cross from Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. It is not a fancy place. What makes it magical is the intelligence there and the ethos. A hugely diverse crowd is always coming and going, some experienced crypto people and lots of newbies. The atmosphere of teaching, sharing, and mutual inspiration is constant. It was so inspiring. So this is beautiful, and I love what Jeffrey Tucker is saying right here. Jeffrey Tucker is arguably the most articulate spokesperson for cryptocurrency within the ecosystem today. That's beautiful. Hey, anybody that wants to end up nominating your favorite alien, you just go ahead and shoot that share button out there. And then that way I could start getting the words out there, because I wouldn't mind. I would love to go and speak. That's actually what Sovereign Starseed is going to be moving into, is this public speaking. So let me know. Share these streams out there, guys. If you guys really appreciate this, if you guys like anything that I'm doing right now, share them. Show that it means something to you. Show your friends, like, hey, look, this could be something that you guys might appreciate too. Really fast, some Bitcoin news. This guy goes through a lot of stuff and he rambles. He has a weird way of looking at things, but you just watch it for a little bit and you might dig it. So anyways, just saying that in addition, we'll be holding free seminars, paid seminars, boot camps, training sessions, and so on, all using the public spaces in our co-working office. This is the beauty of the embassy model. Each city will take a different form. They exist in many places around the world, but this is just the beginning. I would like to see an embassy in every large city in the country and the world. Hey, let's start Bitcoin Embassy Denver. Who's with me? So yeah, I think that's beautiful, guys. And look at this. Like, it's something that is just the beginning of something that's huge. And I think that's beautiful that that's happening. Next in the news, news.bitcoin.com puts out yesterday this article called Nasdaq listed blockchain companies hit with new legal troubles. So it said adding blockchain to the name of their firms have proved to be very beneficial to the top management of publicly listed companies over the past year. However, this tactic also attracted negative attention from regulators, and now 2 Nasdaq firms are facing additional troubles. Riot Blockchain has been hit with a class action lawsuit in the Southern District of Florida. The complaint charges the company, its officers, and one of its major shareholders with violations of the U.S. Securities Exchange Act of 1934. Before October 2017, Riot was a biotechnology company known as Bioptics, Inc. that specialized in the development of veterinary diagnostic tools. On October 4th, Bioptics announced it was changing its name to Riot Blockchain and shifting its business focus to investing in blockchain technologies. It is accused that as a result of defendants' false statements and omissions, the prices of Riot securities were artificially inflated. So they say that the complaint alleges that defendants made false and misleading statements or failed to disclose adverse material information regarding Riot's business and operations. Specifically, the company alleges the defendants failed to disclose that it had changed its name to Riot Blockchain in order to generate investor enthusiasm and tie the company to the recent rise in the price of cryptocurrencies, despite its lack of significant blockchain business, in order to further an insider scheme that would allow Riot's controlling shareholder, Barry Honig, and his associates to sell their Riot securities at artificially inflated prices. Okay, so these guys are just saying that, like, yeah, they're just saying that they changed their name to try to get people enthusiastic about it. All right, next. Long Blockchain to be kicked out of Nasdaq. So it says Long Blockchain Corporation has received a notice from Nasdaq stating it had determined to delist the company's securities. SEC documents also show that Nasdaq was revoking its prior notification to Long Blockchain. Prior to June 27, the company was called Long Island Iced Tea. Y'all may have drank some of it. And gained notoriety when its stock price increased by 432% in a single day after rebranding. The company has the right to appeal Nasdaq's determination, but even if its appeal is approved, Long Blockchain will still need to regain compliance by April 9th. In order to do this, the market value securities have to remain at 35 million or more for a minimum of 10 consecutive business days. If Long Blockchain does not regain compliance by such date, the company's securities would again be subject to potential delisting. Okay, let's look at this article. So what's happening now is that there's a lawsuit that's happening against Bioptics that changed its name to Riot Blockchain, and people are mad that they changed their name because they had tried to gain investor enthusiasm. Now I think that's crazy. I think that is just crazy, because I want y'all to know shit. Like, you better not sue me if I just tried to say something different about Sovereign Starseed to gain enthusiasm. In fact, I want you guys to be enthusiastic and love it. And I think that that's ridiculous that there are some people out there that are wanting to sue because these guys changed their name in order to gain enthusiasm. That's crazy. That's like saying you can't do anything. You have to stay your same boring self, bro. You cannot change with the times. Sorry. Like, that's kind of the way that I was seeing this. It's very short-sighted, but I'm just showing you guys that, like, look at this. Like, can you not change your name to gain some enthusiasm without somebody trying to sue everything out of you? Next, can you not be delisted from Nasdaq like Long Island Iced Tea did? Like, a Long Island Iced Tea is being threatened because they changed their name to Long Blockchain Corporation, and they increased their price in 432% in 24 hours. Like, people are just mad, yo. People are just jelly. People are so jelly. They are so jealous of all of this. That's why they want to end up suing that. And they want to say, we're going to end up removing you if you don't regain compliance. It's like, can you guys see that Long Island doesn't have any sovereignty? It's a slave now to Nasdaq. Nasdaq is the slave master. Nasdaq is whipping Long Island iced tea and saying, your name is Long Island iced tea. It's like, nah, it's long blockchain, baby. No, it's Long Island iced tea. No, it's long blockchain. No, if you call yourself long blockchain, we're gonna remove you. And so you better change your name back, and you better get your value back, or else we're gonna end up having to remove you. We're gonna have to get you out. Dang, man. Can you believe that? And as you guys can see, the masters and the slaves play it out. And so what will long blockchain do? Will it remain long blockchain? Will it remain standing tall and get delisted from Nasdaq? Or will it change its name back in order to comply, in order to go with what the slave master says? I want you guys to know that there's positives and negatives in both of the decisions that they could make. Both of the choices, no matter what whatever it calls itself in the future does, there's going to be positive to that and negative to that. Both. But it's not the end. Just like how it's not the end for BitConnect. And it's definitely not the end for USI Tech. You guys aren't logging into your accounts, USI Tech, every couple times a week. You're not doing it right. Who's been logging into their USI Tech accounts? Who at least knows what's going on? Pop something out in chat as we move on to the next article. Next, news.bitcoin.com says Thai bank terminates account of local cryptocurrency exchange. In an article yesterday, a major bank in Thailand has reportedly terminated the bank account of a local cryptocurrency exchange following an announcement by the central bank prohibiting financial institutions from 5 cryptocurrency-related activities. Meanwhile, the Thai government is actively working on providing a legal framework for cryptocurrencies. Gosh, I'm not even going to get in here. I'm not even going to get into this so deep because I've been rambling, but I just want you guys to see that as you guys can see what's happening here, there's a bank that terminated the account of a local cryptocurrency exchange, Thai Digital Assets Exchange, TDAX, has now had its bank account shut down. So all of the users of TDAX, my heart goes out to you. I feel sorry for you, and it's sad that this is having to happen to you. It's sad that your exchange's bank can't stand tall. But you guess what? It's only going to drive us to be doing things differently, baby. And here's the other thing that's very good for us to see on this article. It says that they are going to prohibit financial institutions from 5 cryptocurrency-related activities. This is the central bank saying this. So this is, who's the government now? Is it the government or is it the central bank? The central bank has been prohibiting financial institutions from 5 cryptocurrency-related activities, and then at the same time, not the central bank, but the Thai government is trying to give you rules on cryptocurrencies. So they're saying you can't do it until we give you rules for it. Look at this, guys. Spread this far and wide, because if you don't, you will have these rules affect you, and we won't be going very far with these cryptocurrencies, not nearly as far as what we were seeing in the first few years of this. We won't be having 15-year-olds being able to have the opportunity to create Ethereum like Vitalik Buterin did. We're not going to have all these other coins starting up and having people that are dedicated to it being able to actually manifest it. Not going to happen if we don't spread these messages and let these regulations stop being created. Let these rules shut up and just let us exist with our cryptocurrencies. That's all it is. I've been doing this way before the SEC been getting into it. I've been doing this way before any governments were looking at this. at least publicly. And I can pretty much kind of confirm that just because my experience tells me back in 2010, 12, 13, 14, that there were all kinds of people, from people that worked in the government that were my friends, people that worked like on the other sides of other places that were all like, Silky, this is ridiculous. I can't believe you get into this. It's so stupid. It's not worth anything. Seeing that type of experience and that type of vibration coming from people that were within the government usually could start to tell me that, like, man, I don't know. It seems to me that, like, if they were planning this, it was planned way, way, way far off. You know, like back in the 90s, back in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, depending on how far down the rabbit hole you go. But, like, as you can see this here, it's almost like their hope that we'll get excited about cryptocurrency, so that way they can try to end up making themselves relevant, because it was boring making all the rules that they have now, which is already way too many. Page after page after page of regulations, family. Do you want that on your new coins? Do you want that on this stuff? Because guess what? The governments are dumb to it right now. They're ignorant to it. They're admitting it. You are more powerful than your governments right now. You want to know why? Because you watch this stream, because you listen to this podcast, because you tell your other friends about it, and you try to help them out with it too. Try to help free them. And that's what makes you powerful. That's what makes all of us powerful. This education, our self-education, our self-regulation. There were many times, I guess, before all this regulation came in that I could have screwed people over. Oh, yeah. And there were many times that so many people could have done it. And there were many times that it did happen. That's right. I'm not going to act like it didn't. But what I'll say is that it's the same thing. Whether you have regulations or not, regulations don't do shit. They don't do anything but choke your innovation, stop the growth from happening, and allow it to only be transferred into the hands of the wealthy. And look at the ideas that the wealthy have given us so far with money. Old, crusty, stupid, obsolete ways of using money. These are new, fresh, liquid movement. Lots of new room for growth and thriving ways to use money. And you want to know why, guys? It's because the poor and the rich can get into it. There are kids that, oh my goodness, have shown themselves to the world now through their cryptographic algorithms that we will depend on. Ethereum is just the first. And if we allow our governments to try to end up putting up legal frameworks for cryptocurrencies, do you think kids are going to be more or less intimidated to creating their own coin? What do you think, guys? What's on your heart? That's really where it is. What do you observe with your heart? This isn't like a question of what's legal. This is a question of what's right, baby. This is a question of what's good. All right, next in the news, the dailychaos.com put out this article yesterday that said, say goodnight to net neutrality as AT&T just rolled out internet fast lanes. AT&T spent the better part of last year pretending to shake its fist along with the majority of Americans in support of net neutrality rules being kept. This protesting included CEO Randall Stephenson doing some damage control by slyly asking the Republican Congress to create an Internet Bill of Rights that would allow his company to get around the predictable rise in state laws that tried to protect their citizens from predatory telecoms, now that telecoms have gotten their way. AT&T may also have trouble getting consumer advocates on board. Stevenson didn't provide any specifics, including whether the Bill of Rights would block controversial fast lanes for services and sites that pay broadband companies preferential treatment. I'm just going to show us the original because I think there is some advertisements in here too showing it. So as of right now, the only so basically AT&T sent out some text to their customers today explaining how they are expanding their sponsored data program to allow other companies to sponsor data. What's important about this is that their sponsored data plan means that companies will pay AT&T in order to have their content streamed on AT&T customers' devices without hitting against their data plans. This is the promotion of internet fast lanes by almost any definition. So as you guys can see that there, it's just kind of like a way of allowing companies to sponsor their own content and not go against your data plan. Basically giving it to you for free if you take what's given to you. So what I'm saying there is that, you know, this is it. This is the beginning of what net neutrality is going to be giving us. And that's also why Sovereign Starseed's so happy to have been saying, you know, oh, isn't it great to be hearing unsponsored news, guys? I'm saying it now because all of these streams are going to be going on the blockchain, right? And in the future, people will hear this and they'll be like, wow, this was being said February 25th, 2018, before like it got like way cray. Before it got like way off the wall. And so, yeah, this is unsponsored news, family, and this is what's making it so good, you know? And I ain't going to be shy about it either. On my website, there's donation links. All right. I'm going to let you know Earth sponsor it. You know what I'm saying? In other news, Inquisitor.com puts out this article yesterday that says the FCC's repeal of net neutrality is causing unprecedented spikes in VPN usage. So it says, who's really getting the last laugh? Americans are losing trust in corporations and the government and taking matters into their own hands. There was a whopping 170% increase in VPN sales in the US. In December 2017, FCC voted to repeal net neutrality, blah, blah, blah. While most American internet users still haven't fully felt the effects of the repeal, an ongoing online campaign has not lost momentum. A VPN, or a virtual private network, is a service that masks and spoofs the end user's IP address, recounting internet traffic through a third-party server and therefore circumventing censorship and government firewalls. In countries like China and Russia, where the World Wide Web is heavily monitored, government-controlled, and censored, VPNs have become synonymous with privacy and freedom of information. These shifts have even led Putin to sign a new law, effectively banning anonymous browsing tools in Russia. Wired ran an article about this back in April 2017. VPN providers might be losing their grip on the Russian market, but VPNs are becoming so popular in the United States that Hotspot Shield, one of the most popular VPNs in the world, saw more than 100 million downloads in 2017 alone, exceeding all expectations and breaking previous records. So I just want you guys to see that, and look at this. Anchor Free is the company that owns Hotspot Shield. The company's CEO, David Gorodiansky, says over the last 18 months, people are starting to realize that the government won't protect them and that Google and Facebook want to use their data as currency. People are realizing that they need to take this into their own hands. Gorodiansky says, adding that Americans are starting to realize that security and privacy are important. Let's see, if the FCC doesn't want to regulate net neutrality, that's fine. We wish they did, but they don't want to. That's okay. We're basically going to solve this from a technology point of view. Anchor Free CEO says, I think there's been this transition where people are starting to trust big corporations and the government less with their information. So, and it's true. It appears the drive for an uncensored, untampered, and neutral internet couldn't be stronger. The actions of a shit pie, Tie-Up and George make them an unlikely, the three people in the FCC that voted for this, make them an unlikely but impressive sales team for the VPN community. The VPN companies getting the last laugh, and with more awakened internet users taking their privacy seriously, we can pretty much say that a VPN is a thorn in the side of this gargantuan force seeking to monopolize a free and open internet. Beautiful. So just want you guys to see that VPN is definitely going to be spiking up, and it's just because our governments are giving the governments are fertilizer, and the paranoia is the fertilizer for VPNs to blossom. And that's really it. We wouldn't have VPNs getting so many sales right now if governments didn't push so much fear into us and push so much paranoia into us. So next, lawandcrime.com puts out this article that says, this is just, look at this. So basically, an expensive gun was recently given to FCC Commission Chair a jit pie by the NRA, and it's likely a violation of federal ethics rules, according to former White House ethics attorney Walter Shaub. Walter Shaub says in a tweet, he just says, anyone care to explain to me why the FCC thinks that the ethics rules allow a shit pie to accept the gift of an expensive handmade gun from the NRA, an entity whose interest he can affect and has affected by the performance of his official duties? Am I missing something? So I just want you guys to see now that it's coming out where the NRA is now giving gifts to a shit pie in the FCC, and the FCC is now taking gifts in the form of guns. That's really all that we needed to end up seeing from that. And then next in the news, I'm just kind of blowing through these next ones just kind of really fast here, just so that way we can just go ahead and get this taken care of, because it's FCC violating ethics rules doesn't seem new to me. So so let's see. So basically, this is just something that I wanted you guys to end up seeing here. That it says, let me just confirm here. Wired.com put out this article, and they basically put it out here. See, yeah, the article came out yesterday, or actually 2 days ago. But it says Facebook's mandatory malware scan is an intrusive mess. When an Oregon science fiction writer named Charity tried to log on to Facebook on February 11th, she found herself completely locked out of her account. A message appeared saying she needed to download Facebook's malware scanner if she wanted to get back in. Charity couldn't use Facebook until she completed the scan, but the file company provided was for a Windows device. Charity uses a Mac. I could not actually run the software they were demanding I download and use, she says. When she tried to log in from her computer at work, Facebook greeted her with the same roadblock. Obviously, there's no way for Facebook to know if my device is infected with anything, since the same message appeared on any computer I tried to access my account from, says Charity. A Facebook spokesperson said Charity may have been asked to download the wrong software because some malware can spoof what kind of computer a person is running. Still, Charity was left without any way to access her account, and her experience is far from unique. The internet is full of Facebook users frustrated with how the company handles malware threats. For nearly 4 years, people have complained about the Facebook's anti-malware scam on forums, Twitter, Reddit, and on personal blogs, saying I could not actually run the software they are demanding I download and use. And so I just want you guys to see that it's horrible. So Facebook is trying to force people to download its own software onto computers everywhere, and who knows what that's doing. And we also know that privacy is not it's not something that Facebook is interested in giving you. It's known. You just Google it. People know it everywhere that they are interested in stripping you of your privacy, not giving it to you. So forcing you to download something on your computer is pretty intrusive. And then also, it's so badly done that the software that they want you to download doesn't work on a Mac. They haven't actually created it for a Mac yet. Oops, that sucks. And so here's the thing, fam. I would just ask yourselves to sit with yourselves and ask yourselves this: do I really need to consent to this website that's forcing me to download software on my computer that it says it needs to do because it says it found a virus? But clearly, if I just try to log onto my Facebook account from any computer, it gives me that same message everywhere. So I know this website is lying to me. Should I still try to download this, to log in, to continue to consent to this entity that lies to me. Is that a smart thing to do? And I'll tell you guys this, anybody that hears this stream or podcast, or anybody that has to do this going forward, if you still continue to use Facebook, it's going to be getting harder and harder for me to respect you. I'm serious. And it's because of these moves right here. This is a direct slap in your face. And it's a joke, family. I want you to see this is a joke. This is a mockery of you. You are being made fun of. Facebook is trying their hardest to please some government entity in trying to see how many people they could get to download their bogus software. And it's bogus because it pops up on every computer. So it doesn't even know what you're doing. It doesn't even know. It's just trying to trick you into it. Do you still consent? Next, in the news, Brahma OS. This is pretty cool. So we'll just go ahead and close out some of these. So the Merkle.com puts out this article today that said Brahma OS is the decentralized value operating system based on blockchain. So the advent of blockchain technology is provoking a revolution in the Internet of Value. In the blockchain world, Ethereum, Neo, EOS, and other blockchain-based computing platforms exploit land to run applications. On this land, a variety of application chain of different functions spring up. For example, Rebo Network for cross-border payment, CVC with the function of authentication and distributed file systems. However, in the world of blockchain, there is a lack of infrastructure with multiple functions which offer a variety of decentralized services. Brahma OS aims to fill that. What is Brahma OS? Taking the widely used mobile Android system as an entry point, Brahma OS builds an underlying architecture of blockchain applications and ecosystems based on Ethereum. As the core of connecting end users in blockchain networks, Brahma OS offers users like decentralized authentication, network transmission, storage, app store, asset management, and transaction, also making Brahma OS highly scalable. Through the Brahma OS Software Developer Kit interface, developers can quickly expand decentralized service components. Why use Brahma OS? As operating systems become more centralized, the infrastructure on which they operate is accordingly more centralized. For instance, as brute force password cracking can pose a threat to the identity authentication method based on the username password, people have proposed various two-factor authentication solutions such as Google Authenticator, Dynamic Password, Fingerprint Authentication, Access Control Cards. There's so many things now. Like Apple's now doing the face scanner. There's been iris scanners for a long time actually. So with that, I just want you guys to see that, what we were talking about at the beginning of the stream, even Apple's becoming more centralized because now they're having to comply with the central authorities of China and give up Chinese users' iCloud encrypted keys there. And then the Chinese authorities can go in there and do whatever they want. And so because of that, that's why Brahma OS is starting to happen. And that's why I like to share these things with you guys because, I know it's not the easiest to watch these streams and listen to these podcasts, but not all is dark. It's just this is what the truth is. And the truth has good and bad sides to it. And I want us to be well educated on both. It's what makes us strong. So, yes, it's what makes us balanced, really. So, why use Brahma OS? It's decentralized, baby. And Brahma OS is the first of quite a few OSs that's going to come out that are going to be decentralized OSs. You will be able to build apps for these operating systems that will be able to free people. And then think about this. Think about having a device that cannot be centralized and cannot be censored. It might be a device you might have to be able to put together from other phone parts and then install the Brahma OS on it. And then you might really be able to know securely that you have a device that you created, that you installed the operating system on, that you programmed, and that you're able to end up sharing with the world. That's beautiful. And that is so cool, guys. So like, I want you guys to see that Brahma OS is out there. You get a huge thumbs up from Sovereign Starseed for that, and I think that's great, and I want to see more of that coming out. Next, news.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says Uzbekistan to legalize Bitcoin and support developers. Uzbekistan has taken the road towards Bitcoin legalization. In accordance with the presidential decree, a law-regulated electronic money should be prepared by the end of the summer. A Central Asian country is also planning to open a center for distributed ledger technologies. Mining expenses in Uzbekistan are among the lowest in the world, as the country is a leading producer of electricity. So they're going to adopt the Bitcoin bill. It says a new decree signed by President Shavkat Mirziyoyev states that Uzbekistan institutions should finalize a draft to legally regulate cryptocurrencies by September 1st. So the central bank, the Ministry of Information Technologies and Communications, the Finance Ministry, and the Ministry of Economy have been tasked to prepare the bill. So they got 4 people. Change of hearts in Central Asia. The third presidential decree represents a positive change in course in regards to cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Earlier comments by Tashkent officials have indicated a different attitude. Representatives of the Central Bank of the Republic of Uzbekistan had referred to the digital coins as instruments of terrorism financing. So I think that is great. However, you know, still regulation. And, you know, it's just something that, like, I would just really like to see a government be like, hey, look, we're going to take steps back to these cryptocurrencies. We want these cryptocurrencies basically to tell us what to do as a government by the way that people use them. That's really the way, and the most comfortable way that I could see us having a government be able to actually slide into the realm of the crypto realm going forward. But unless they do that and they mean it and they follow through with it, I don't know if that'll happen. And then that's okay, because then we won't end up having massive, huge governments with so many regulations. No man, woman, or child will ever learn them. Next in the news, news.bitcoin.com. This is second to last. I know we got a lot to go through. News.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says hacker returns 20,000 ETH to CoinDash. CoinDash has announced that 20,000 Ether have been sent to the company's wallet from the address associated with the hacker that stole approximately 37,000 ETH during the company's ICO. The transaction constitutes the second instance in which the hacker has returned funds to CoinDash. So I think that is great. You know, 20,000 Ethereum tokens being returned is pretty honorable. That's pretty good. You know, 30,000 were taken, 20,000 are being given back. Who knows what happened to the remaining 17, but I'm just glad that we're able to report on something like this. And it gives us hope, you know, and it also shows us that a lot of times hackers, you know, even those digital terrorists that they're all trying to protect us from, you know, they're not so bad. They even return this stuff without regulations, mind you, without regulations. So you don't, like, I'm just showing you guys how stupid regulations are throughout this whole time. That's, I guess, my propaganda here. That's my agenda that I'm trying to push, is that regulations are such a farce, such an illusion, that, like, it's so stupid that you'll have people steal from you if you don't have regulations. Or if you do have regulations, you'll have people return money to you if you don't have regulations, or if you do have regulations. So what really do regulations do? What really do they protect us from? And all it really does is try to incite fear into people. And I don't really think that's a great way of controlling our species going forward, especially with the way we're waking up. But let's get into the final article here. News.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says Venezuelan government opens school to teach citizens about cryptocurrencies. Hey now, the Venezuelan government has opened a school in the capital city to teach its citizens how to buy, sell, and mine cryptocurrencies, including courses on the nation's oil-backed cryptocurrency, the petro. Meanwhile, President Nicolas Maduro has approved resources for universities across the country to establish mining farms. So I think that's beautiful. There's a crypto school in Caracas now. The Venezuelan government has opened a training center to teach its citizens about cryptocurrencies in Caracas. The announcement came shortly after the launch of the Petro. The cryptocurrency trading school offers courses on Petro to Venezuelans for free. So I think, oh man, this is great. So Venezuela, again, another huge thumbs up from Sovereign Starseed, because I think this is great that you guys are doing this. You're opening up a school, you're providing education for free, and you're really trying to rid your citizens of the tyranny, of the separation of the government and anything else that can get to them. Educating your people is going to make your people powerful, and I think that is great that you're doing this. I think it is great, and I would love to see other governments start to fund things like this and start to help these things out. But you guys, as I've been saying this whole time, the government of Venezuela, just Venezuela as a country, is going to be setting examples for us everywhere because it's forced to due to its economic position. So it's just something to think about, and it's great because I really feel Sovereign Starseed, my way of wanting to end up looking at the world with this is that other countries follow suit towards what Venezuela is doing. It's beautiful. Watch the previous streams to track the methods and track what's going on, because that's what we're doing here as well. So with that, guys, that's the end of the news here, but let's go ahead and get into our maxim. So tonight's maxim is pretty simple. Bringing up the maxim tonight is abundance causa non nascet. Abundance causa non nascet. That's Latin for abundant caution does no harm. Once more, abundant caution does no harm, family. And I just want you guys to see that. Think about that. Think about how you'll be able to use that in court. Think about how you'll be able to use that with your friends. Think about how you'll be able to use that with your lover, your lovers. Think about how you'll be able to use that with everybody. Just think about how that's natural and how you'll be able to use that with people that don't even speak your language. How you'll be able to use that with people that don't agree with you on religion. Think about it. This is a maxim. This is what maxims do. They make us sovereign. And this is one of the greatest parts and the greatest gifts that we could give each other, is these maxims. And that's why it's my favorite part of the show now, is that we get to talk about this. So what does abundant caution does no harm mean to you? Post it up in chat. We'll end up transitioning out here. But what does that mean to you guys? Abundant caution does no harm. Can you see how the things that we talk about on this show could apply to that? Can you see how it can apply to cryptocurrencies? Mr. Compton says, nice, take care. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you, friend. Appreciate you, man. You're regular, and it's always so good to have you here. So thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Mountain, 5 o'clock Universal. So this is Sovereign Starseed saying good night to all beings, seen and unseen.